Ambassador, sorry.
I'm sorry to be late getting here. I have just arrived this morning, and as I walked up the street to my house from the metro, from the airport, wearing the clothes that I'd had on for 4 days, there was a camera crew waiting on the sidewalk. And so, okay, it's been that way steadily ever since. I went on the trip. I was not on the big boat where the bad things happened. I was on the small ship that left from Athens. We had 58 people on board from...
Right up to your lips.
Right up to my lips up here. Is that okay? Yeah. You're going to have to tell me. Okay. We had people on board our ship from Sweden, from... Okay, I'm going to have to do this. It's a hard habit to get. My wife would not appreciate. So we had people from several countries on our ship, a small ship, and you may know that there were people from 30 countries that came on the whole flotilla. Our ship was taken Saturday morning. We were well at sea, outside anybody's waters. We were in international waters. They came at 4 o'clock. The boat was small, and the commandos stepped from their boat directly onto the deck of ours, and essentially it was all over when 18 of them boarded us. A couple of people tried to perform what was called passive resistance, blocking access to the wheelhouse, locking arms around the door to the engine room, and the Israeli soldiers, of course, were interested in preventing us from preventing them. So some people were hurt with twisted arms and, dislocated distant punches and kicks, but there was nothing really violent, and it was over very quickly, and the rest of the time we spent under their control until we got to Ashdod some 36 hours later, where we were processed through a reception center. Some people went into detention, some of us were expelled. I was expelled. It's a tragedy. I went on this trip because of a hope, more than a belief, a hope that Israel could see the potential advantages of letting these non-threatening materials into Gaza where the people needed them so badly. 180 electric wheelchairs, 150 prefabricated houses, 2 water purification plants, a bunch of medicines and construction materials, whose entrance into Gaza has been severely limited by the Israelis for far too long. And we hope that, yes, maybe we could get in and Israel will get some positive publicity for the way it's handling the occupation. We were wrong, which I guess should not have surprised us, but hope springs eternal when you spend a lot of time working on that part of the world and the areas. Now, no one in his or her right mind wants anything bad to happen to a single Israeli, or Palestinian, or American. But we fear, all of us, that bad things are going to happen to all 3 groups because of what is happening in Palestine and what is not happening in Palestine, and Gaza, of course. We went there, it was humanitarian, it wasn't political, it wasn't religious, it wasn't hostile. We were unarmed, we were pacifists, we are activists. Let these people free. And my reaction is disappointment, because not only has it not worked, it's gone the other way, and now we have additional generated frustration and hatred and bloodshed and the rest of it. And for responsibility, you can fix it wherever you wish, but we had nothing hostile on our minds whatsoever, except helping people who desperately need help. And part of the reason that they're suffering is our fault. And so I felt I would go and try to make a contribution in a tactile sense, because I've spent a lifetime talking and listening and explaining and introducing people out there in the hope that they'll get a better understanding of what's necessary. One of our members, by the way, this was a European effort, and at the very last minute they decided to add a few Americans. There were only 5 of us on that ship, and a couple of Americans on the big one. One of our members is still there in a hospital in the detention center, because on the dock after they got us off the boat, he was rather severely beaten. His name is Paul LaRue. LaRudy, thank you. Paul LaRudy is still there, and I was incommunicado for 45 hours until I got off the plane in New Jersey this morning. They took our phones, our cameras, everything, and we were essentially in loose confinement. So I think Paul is still there. He probably is going to go to trial. And here's one of the things that interests me that you can put in the back of your minds. I was expelled, deported as it were, for illegally entering Israel. Okay, you get it, because under armed escort I was forced to go there, and if you want to call that illegal entry, then you and I have different understandings of what that means. Because it was illegal as hell, quite frankly. And the boats were taken far off the coast of Gaza. In Somalia we call that piracy.
Amen. Amen.
And that's what they did. And I am sorry, truly sorry, that I think the results of this effort have made it worse for just about everybody. But that doesn't mean it won't be tried again. And that doesn't mean that the same thing might not happen again. But hope springs eternal. And I'm sure the groups will go back. I'll go with them.
Yeah.